And we have Patrick. How you doing, Patrick?
Good. How are you, Brent?
Wonderful. Thanks for coming on to the show. It's always great to have you on. What's your take with the delay tactic on the Canada Disability Benefit? Not that I think UBI is obviously the way to go going forward, right? But I see it as kind of one of those smoke and mirrors kind of scenarios, right?
Well, I think delay is something we're all used to, and I think it's not surprising that they tabled it for the summer. As far as the disability benefit, because I guess it's just not a priority for a lot of people.
Yeah, it doesn't make the headlines for sure, right? It doesn't affect their lives, so it probably they think, oh well, it doesn't bother me at all. So I mean, yeah, it's people with disabilities. Oh well, it's kind of like, well, if you're 75 and older, you're going to get some kind of break. At 65 under, yeah, well, not so much.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that's how I see it too. I just see a lot of delay tactics. I mean, if they were government was really serious about getting it out, they could have easily put an intern amount out there in the meantime, rather than just rising for the summer and going away for 3 months, and then they'll call it a day, and they'll get back and debate it and try and get it through the second reading, and then it still has to go through third reading and then through the Senate too.
Yeah.
And then by the time they do that, it'll be the fall session will be done.
Or we'll be into summer 2023, right?
Yeah, exactly. And then they'll call an election. They'll say, "Oh, well, yeah, it's not working now." It's minority government, and I see where it's going. I do.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. I mean, by the time it's approved, we'll have basic income for everybody. So, I don't hold my breath on anything that government does. Is changing my life. I figure it's up to me to change my situation, and if I could, I would. I think everybody on disability would rather not be. Would rather just have a regular job and no disability, right? Like that would be the preference, but that's not possible for everybody, right?
Exactly, and at the end of the day, the government knows these things already. Like they have studies they've done in over like 50 years, even longer, right? They know everything at the end of the day, what needs to be done, and they just want to cause people just to get all riled up about it. And they know. I think they're going to put they'll put the basic income out there. Like you mentioned, it's inevitable, and all the services are already there. I mean, they just have to blend it all into one.
Yeah, but that's another thing too. It could be that basic income, even though it would save from duplication and different programs, how many jobs is it going to cost if you get rid of a bunch of different departments and people that are administering these benefits to just have a single basic income? It's going to cost jobs, right? And no government wants to be there when they're responsible for laying off a bunch of government workers. That doesn't go over so well. So I don't know. It's hot potato. Nobody wants to be caught with it.
Oh, absolutely. What was your take on today's segment? When you came on, we were discussing about UBI and stuff. But I had Mark on earlier today from the United Kingdom.
Yeah,
it was awesome. Yeah, he was great, and he was kind of talking about a little bit about that topic, and but of course, future segments we're going to be talking a lot more about it for sure, about the income inequalities. Really, I mean, they're really hurting over there bad. I didn't realize how bad their system is. It's for every segment of what, like if it's bills, they have one check for bills, one check for rent, one check for food. I mean, you name it. It's like, holy, like I didn't realize that.
Oh, so it's so everything is paid individually, you mean?
From what I'm gathering, from what he's explaining, they have a different system that I guess they're trying to integrate in, and so I guess it's all needs based, right? On what I want to get more information on that, but that's what I'm gathering.
Wow. Well, I heard that Australia had changed their benefit system too to pay people a rental sort of benefit that goes to the landlord, and then give them a debit card that only works in certain places. for authorized purchases. So, there's concerns that it's going to be abused and prevent people from buying what they need. But I've heard that alcoholism is such a problem there that they needed something to prevent people from blowing their entire check on booze. So I don't know if it's good or bad.
Yeah, it's definitely will be sure discussions. Kind of hearing what Mark's perspective is on that. Sure, he probably would say, well, people should just basically buy what they need, right? I mean, they shouldn't really be subjected down to, well, you need to buy this and you need to buy that. I mean, because all the taxes all go in anyway. They all go in and it gets paid at the end of the day. It all equals to the same, right? It's all based on a threshold on people's their well-being, on what best suits their life, right? And what they want to buy. They should get to buy what they want to buy and not be dictated, right?
Well, there's sure different opinions on it. I mean, it depends on what government's in too. If it's a more right-wing conservative government, you can bet there's going to be more scrutiny about what people on social assistance are doing with the money. There's always the more conservative politicians saying that we shouldn't be at casinos and we shouldn't be buying alcohol or cannabis or anything, and you shouldn't go overboard and not have enough money to eat, but it's nobody's business, really.
Yeah, and I mean, of course, the different governments, as you mentioned, I mean, they get in the power, they'll start changing different policies on what they feel best suits the recipient's needs. I think, and I think it should be written in stone, at least legislated into law where they can't change it. Any government gets in the power, they can't change things.
Yeah, and that's why the universal income makes sense. I mean, less oversight, less worry, less control. Just give people the $2,000 or $2,500 a month or whatever it's going to be, and do with it as you will. And once you make enough money to not worry about needing that, you're paying more tax anyway. So it's a good system, good idea.
Well, yeah, I mean, people put the money, into the communities that they live in, and they can travel around, do what they want, and not worry about, well, am I going to have enough to basically cover my basic needs, right? If they want to go and visit a friend, they want to go and visit a relative, I mean, somebody they haven't seen so long, and they should get to go anywhere in the country and have that. I mean, more than just a basic standard. I mean, it's just give them the money, and then they'll put the money back in one way or another back into the communities. And I mean, God forbid if they went to another community and they put their money into another community to help out a small business and make them thrive rather than big corporations where they've made massive record profits, right? I mean, I have a small grocery store right across the road from here. Literally, I mean, you have to, play Frogger just to play that video game when I was a kid. But there's no traffic. You just walk right across the road. It's 2-minute walk from here. Literally, it's right there. But they're pricey. I mean, I can get some produce items the same price as the main grocery stores. It's pretty competitive when it comes to that. Some canned veggies, I mean, pretty competitive, but it gets up to dairy. Now you're looking at pretty hefty price difference, right? But if it's nasty weather, Patrick, then am I going to go say 15, 20 minutes out of my way, where I could just go across the road and just bite the bullet and just go and buy it. If it's just a one-off item, then yeah, I might do that. It kind of cringe. I had to do a jug of milk one day, and oh man, that was not good. But $6.74. Well, it was $6.59, but they charge a deposit now and a viral fee now on a jug, a 4-liter jug. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So I can go to our bigger grocery store and get the same thing for $5.19. And in the day it's $5.38. I don't know why they just don't say $5.38 now, but to make it sound as a sales pitch, I guess. But
yeah,
yeah,
really. Well, that's something a lot of people that come to North America notice is tax not included in prices, right? It would make things easier if the price you saw was the price you paid.
Oh, absolutely. I told you that. I remember one year I went down to, I was down in Portland, Oregon, and geez, the only place that I came across where the price you saw was the price that you paid, and I could not believe it. I was like, what? I go, okay, so how much is the tax? She goes, oh, the tax is included, sir. I'm like, it's included. Oh, okay.
Wow.
and I thought, wow, okay. So now I went to a restaurant at one time. This is going back years when you had more buying power. You could actually afford to go and buy a few extra things or go on a little trip.
Yeah.
So I'd go down and I'd go to like a Denny's restaurant. Well, now, hey, no tax. So now I can afford to, I could give the waitress a little, maybe a little more of a tip, and
Yeah.
yeah, you know what I mean? So, and that's what I mean. You put the money into another community and it really helps that employee. I mean, not that the corporation, I mean, like what I mentioned, but it actually helps the employee because now they can now spend that money into their community, and it kind of goes around, comes around, right? So
Yeah,
if you don't have the money to do it, then yeah, it really it's what's the point, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it makes it harder for everybody, for sure.
Yeah, I see. Evil Flightless Birdie. She has her hand up.
Oh, okay.
I'll just go over to Birdie there.
Sure.
Oh, thank you so much. Patrick, this is really a question for you because you had mentioned Australia working on implementing or talking about implementing cards that get used at certain vendors, right? And I was wondering if what you had heard was similar to systems like SNAP in the States.
I haven't heard of SNAP. Not familiar with that one. I just know that from what I read, Australia's benefit system was putting something together so that there was less actual cash that people got and debit cards that were only authorized for certain types of purchases.
Which is a shame.
Yeah, it's like food stamps almost.
Right. Which has been used, effectively or ineffectively in the States for quite some time. But there's arguments that it's also worked as well if you look at New Jersey. But there are a few systems in the States, SNAP being one of the ones that's on a federal level.
Okay.
That has been slowly integrated with services like Amazon and Instacart, depending on where you live. And what I found interesting is when I poke at Instacart, I see that there's a checkbox for that sort of card service. But we don't have those in Canada. Then that leads to the confusion of what's going on behind the scenes.
Yeah, and you got to look it up and find out what other places are doing. I guess it's nice to know where what other jurisdictions are doing, so we know whether we got it better or worse, I guess.
Oh, absolutely, and that's as a comparison to see what jurisdictions are. What their living situations are, like their buying power based on what their rates are, and that's something that I don't know if you caught that part where Patrick that we were talking about in the last show, where going forward we're actually going to be doing a rebrand, and that's like a discussion that we're going to be having going forward, and throwing like an attachment onto Canadians with disabilities and their allies. So we're going to be expanding outward, and quite exciting actually. I mean, everybody in the space right now in the show is going to hear this, because what we're going to be doing here is we're going to be expanding on to the name and including other countries and welcoming other countries to come on to the show, because it is a worldwide. Well, it's not an issue. It's reality. It's a worldwide lived experience on what Canadians and people around the world with disabilities, what they live through, what they go through.